Wible is a family physician born into a family of physicians. In 2004, fed up with assembly line medicine, Dr. Wible held town hall meetings where she invited citizens to design their own ideal clinic. Open since 2005, Dr. Wible's innovative model has sparked a populist movement that has inspired Americans to create ideal clinics and hospitals nationwide. Pamela Wible's ideal clinic model is now taught in medical schools and undergraduate medical humanities courses and is featured in the Harvard School of Public Health's newest edition of Renegotiating Healthcare, Resolving Conflict to Build Collaboration, a textbook examining major trends with the potential to change the dynamics of healthcare. Dr. Wible is also the author of Amazon's top-rated Pet Goats and Pap Smears, 101 Medical Adventures to Open Your Heart and Mind, a book I had the pleasure of reading and being inspired by a year ago. When not treating patients in her community clinic, Dr. Wible devotes her time to medical student and physician suicide prevention. Dr. Wible's work in this area was a huge component of why I nominated her for this award. I truly believe that the conversation that Dr. Wible is beginning about suicide prevention is turning a light towards medical students to re-examine their own wellness as well as the wellness that we provide our peers. A graduate of Wesley College, University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston, and University of Arizona's Department of Family and Community Medicine, Dr. Wible is now called to help students and physicians deliver ideal care to their communities. It is such an honor to introduce Dr. Pamela Wible, an inspiring leader and educator of the next generation of physicians, as a 2015 Women Leaders in Medicine Award winner.
Well, I like to start with my favorite quote. A Zen poet once said that a person who's a master in the art of living makes little distinction between their work and their play, their labor and their leisure, their mind and their body, their education and their recreation, their love and their religion. They hardly know which is which and simply pursue their vision of excellence and grace in whatever they do, leaving others to decide whether they are working or playing. To them, they are always doing both. Medicine is an apprenticeship profession. We learn by studying doctors, and patients learn by studying us. Doctor means teacher, but what are we teaching? If doctors are victims, patients and medical students learn to be victims. If doctors are discouraged, patients and medical students learn to be discouraged. If we want happy, healthy patients, we must fill our clinics and hospitals with happy, healthy doctors. But when I look around, I really don't see that many happy doctors. So, my mentors are medical students. I love your youthful joy and exuberance, and I am inspired by your endless curiosity and your conviction and compassion. And I want to grow up to be just like you. I want to be like Becky. She's a medical student in Oklahoma. She has a dream of providing care for the poorest of the poor in Oklahoma City. And I want to be like Julia, a medical student I met in New Jersey. She wants to open her clinic on an organic farm. And I want to be like Sasha, a pre-medical student in Pennsylvania. All she wants to do is just cry with and love on her patients. I am inspired to be the best version of myself when I think of these people, and when I think of medical students and the joy and love that they have and the desire that they have to serve people when they enter medical school. And so I want to keep that joy alive for the rest of your medical career, and I want to bring that joy back to my colleagues who have lost this. I'm a family physician in Oregon, and I love my patients. I hug them and kiss them, and I do house calls, and they all have my home phone number. I'm on call 24/7. That would seem like a hardship, but it's not. I never really feel like I'm working. I think that's because I'm self-employed, which is how most doctors worked until very recently. For centuries, physicians have been self-employed. And the reason why I like being self-employed is I haven't had to set an alarm clock in 10 years for work, because I work afternoons and evenings 3 half days a week. And it's awesome. I highly recommend it. And I like being self-employed because I've never turned anyone away for lack of money, because I'm the boss and I can do that. And I like the boss, being self-employed. I have a lot of fun. And, I can break the rules that don't make sense because I'm self-employed. And here's 3 rules that don't make sense. And I would encourage you all not to follow these 3 rules in our profession. One is, I refuse to practice professional distance, because what patients really want is professional closeness. 2, I refuse to practice cookie cutter medicine, because my patients aren't chocolate chip cookies, and I'm not a cookie cutter doctor, and neither are you. And I refuse to practice assembly line medicine, because I didn't go to medical school for all these years to be turned into a factory worker, and neither did you. So, as well, patients, they're not looking for a factory worker or a zombie robot. They're looking for a real human being. So I would encourage you to stay real through your training. You're going to be a lot happier that way. And the other thing about breaking away from assembly line medicine, as was discussed during my introduction, is that I was able to create a new model with the help of my community. I basically had a town hall meeting where I told everyone my job sucked and I was suicidal, and if they didn't, come up with a better way, I was just gonna maybe be a waitress or something. I just could not see continuing practicing medicine in this insane corporate assembly line 7-minute visit practice style. So I collected 100 pages of written testimony. I pretty much told them, I'll do whatever you want as long as it's basically legal. So if you could just tell me, what's your dream? Write my job description for me if you wouldn't mind, because it's not really working for administrators to write my job description. So I just rather work for the people themselves. And I got 100 pages of testimony, and I was able to adopt 90% of what the patients needed in my town, and we were open 1 month later. It's not rocket science. You don't really need to wait for the government to do this for you. So it's great. Buckminster Fuller has a quote that I really like called, what does he say? You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, create a new model, ideal medical care, that will make the old model, assembly line medicine, obsolete. I hope you'll join me in this, and that you will be the change that you want to see in medicine, because this dysfunctional medical system can only exist on the backs of a disempowered physician population, the precursor of which is an abused medical student population. So, I hope that during your medical school, you will break the rules when need be, and that you won't be too well behaved, and that you'll stand up against intimidation, bullying, and abuse, because it doesn't get better, so you might as well stand up at the beginning. Because I think we need to take our profession back. And if you need any help, feel free to Facebook me, be my friend, email me, call me anytime. My home phone number is 541-345-2437. Put it on speed dial in case you're bullied or abused. I am accessible. And if you want to know sooner than later what to do, then come to my talk on Saturday. I'm giving a talk on some strategies that you can use to confront unethical behavior in medical school with grace and success. And honestly, the truth is that it's impossible to be a victim and a healer at the same time. So I hope you'll choose being a healer rather than a victim. And I thought I'd read this most beautiful chapter that came out of a series of interviews that I gave with doctors called The Raw Truth. And this is the reason why I became a doctor, and I think why many of us became doctors. I often wonder, why am I a doctor? The truth is, I want to live in the real world, a world without pretense, a world where people can't hide behind money or status. Illness uncovers our authenticity. Doctoring satiates my need to be witnessed and to witness the raw, uncensored human experience. I crave intensity. Like an emotional bungee jumper, I live to inhale the last words of a dying man, to hear the first cry of a newborn baby, to feel the slippery soft skin in my hands, to cut the cord and watch a drop of blood fall on my shoe, to wipe a new mother's tears, to introduce a father to his son, to hold a daughter's hand as she kisses her father goodbye one last time. I am a doctor because I refuse to be numb. I want to live on the precipice of the underworld, the afterworld, to look into patients' eyes, to free fall into an abyss of love, despair, death, and then wake up tomorrow and do it all again. Maybe doctoring fills a hole, a void. I doctor for connection, to be needed, to be loved. And in summary, at its core, doctoring is intimacy. And intimacy means in to me see. And it's when we see so deeply into another that we find our own reflections and discover ourselves. So, I'd like to ask you to be a healer and not a factory worker. And I'd like to ask you to take your eyes off your computer and look into your patients, because it's there that you will find your truth, discover yourself, and your path in medicine. Thank you.